Our meeting is now reconvened, and we are now we took action, the matters discussed in the public hearing, so that's item number 6. Item number 7, a call of a special town meeting. That'll be done at our meeting on Tuesday at the 15th. Number 8 is a received recommendation from the Police Commission request for a street light at the corner of Jennick and Oak Hill Lane. And you'll see that memo in our packet from Deputy Chief Stewart, that a request was made for a traffic light at that location. And the Police Commission considered that request, and also they got input from United Illuminating and decided that that was not an appropriate place for a light at that intersection.
Make a motion we accept the recommendation of the commission.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. The person who requested that will inform him of that, and if he wants to, when he returns to renew that, he can. We'll tell him that in the letter.
He has an opportunity to do so, and
He does. You have to start all over again, but he was not there for the police commission meeting.
Oh, okay. Perhaps get more neighbor input as well, because I'm not sure there was anyone at the, I don't know. It didn't look like
there wasn't anyone.
Matters of public there.
Yeah, there weren't.
So,
okay, that gets us now to our town council's official report here.
Before I do I'd like to spend some time talking about Golf Authority. Do you have any problems? Any questions about it? I'm only kidding.
Make a motion.
I'm only kidding.
All right.
The
first item is the back at number 110709 petition of Soundview Community Media Inc. for a declaratory ruling.
Our brief is in your packet. We filed that. All parties who have been made intervening parties in the case have filed their own briefs. I think the brief is self-explanatory. We're waiting for a decision. The CURA, or the former DPUC, may schedule oral argument on this request, or they may not schedule oral argument. So I will let you know if they do, and as soon as I hear that there's a decision, I'll of course let you know. But I think you have the brief in your packet. The bacteria case, again, has been pending. It's a case that really the town is not involved in directly, although we've been named as a defendant because the Town Planning and Zoning Commission, when it created a subdivision that these folks live around, live in, made a requirement that there be a common road and a maintenance agreement. So this is basically a dispute between a couple neighbors. We filed an answer just so we don't get defaulted in the case. But basically, we're passengers in this lawsuit, and we're just sort of following it and waiting to see what happens. The requirements for subdivision site plan bonds, I don't know if
That's
is that in the packet?
It is in the packet.
Again, that's self-explanatory. I don't know a lot about it, but that's something that we're going to take a look at. D, the Barbaro claim, and also you have some information in that packet. This is a situation where Mrs. Barbaro was driving on a road one night in a heavy rain, and there was a storm drain that was protruding, a catch basin that was retreating up, and she didn't see it because it was clogged up and the rain was pretty heavy. She hit it and she ruined 4 tires. We presented that claim to our insurance company. The insurance company turned it down. I talked to Dr. Barbaro today because I wanted to go over it with him. And I said that I looked at the denial, I looked at the claim, and I looked at the statement, and I told him that I would take a shot at trying to get the insurance company to change their position, because they may have some merit to the argument that maybe it wasn't marked properly. Really not certain whether it is a meritorious claim, but I told him I would do my best to see whether they would pay it, and then we would get back to him. And he was very happy with that and satisfied. So.
Did they try and submit it to their own insurance company?
No, because I don't think it's not covered. I think they probably did go to their agent and he said it's not covered. It was, you know, either she was negligent or the town was negligent, or a combination of both.
Has there been any precedent in the past of what we've done when that happens?
There was one other claim that I know of, the Charcoal claim, and the insurance company denied it, and Mrs. Charcoal came and we said there was nothing further for us to do. That was a little bit different. Just on the merits of this claim, It seems a little stronger, you know, maybe there are some differences, and I think that maybe I can ask the insurance company to reconsider. They more likely than not, they'll say no, but it's worth a try.
The law in these kind of cases, though, the town must be the sole proximate cause of this damage.
Right.
So it's a very high burden of proof for the plaintiff, so it's a difficult case.
Are these photos before and after, or it wasn't clear?
Those are photos that don't show the water that was
Yeah,
covering the
right, it's
That was
not-
after.
catch basin.
Okay.
So their claim is it was obscured by water, and there was no marker there. There's no cone there.
And they're gonna say that the town should have anticipated this possibility of happening, and we should have marked it.
And the tires hit here, the
Yes.
corner?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
Blue tube tires.
Yeah,
So I think Dr. Bravo will abide by whatever the insurance company determines after I've had a talk with them.
The next is a request from Jeffrey Tomei, deed part of Fairgrounds to his family.
Again, you have a little schematic in front of you.
No, you're the only one that.
Oh, I'm the only one that has it,
They
okay.
brought that up to me quite late.
Ah, okay. There is a little schematic of Mr. Tomei's property, and it's right on, I guess, Fairgrounds and Amity, right? Pretty, right in that area. And basically, he's saying that the town makes no use of it, that we don't need it, and why don't we abandon it, even though he doesn't say abandon in his letter. And what we always do in these situations is we first have to, by state statute, refer requests for abandonment to the P&Z, and we're going to do that under section 8-24, and see what they have to say. They report back to us within 35 days, and then we can consider the request to
do you
abandon.
need a motion to do that?
Yes.
Yes, to refer it.
I would
Yes.
like to make that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is a request from Murray Lender to abandon a right-of-way from Country Club to Cross Hollow to adjacent property owners.
And this is basically the same kind of a claim that Mr. Lunder is making, and you have his letter in the packet as to just about what he wants. Again, we're going to refer this, as we have to do by state statute, before we consider it, and I would ask for a motion to refer.
I move referral of Mr. Lender's claim to TBZ.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And under other, there's a letter here from you, Jerry, to Maria Kane about the Freedom of Information.
Yes, there is a pending complaint with Freedom of Information, and Maria is the chairman of FOI, and we're trying to...
Conservation.
Not FOI. We're trying to get, as part and parcel of a settlement of that claim against conservation to the FOI Commission. The FOI Commission has asked that the members of the commission undergo a training session. They send somebody down and they explain a little bit to them about what FOI is and what the requirements are for commissions. Conservation has agreed to do that. We're trying to get the right date for them to come down. Maria's proposed November 17th. I've asked the commission to send their person down on the 17th, and I haven't frankly gotten a response from them yet, but hopefully this week we'll be able to do that and finish that case off.
Okay, and there's
Hopefully.
nothing other?
Nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Next is the Director of Finance and Operations report. The first is your monthly report, Tom.
Okay. The monthly report shows a projected budgetary surplus of about $50,000. Most of our revenues are pretty close to budget. There's one exception. We received $22,000 in intergovernmental revenue when we received a municipal video competition grant. And that's something we did not budget for, as it was, we weren't quite sure if we were going to get that once again. And so that's in our budget, in our revenue rather, which is a surplus. In our expenses, we have a revenue, we have a surplus in our liability insurance, about $27,000, which was based on the fact that we did very well with our, when we bid out insurance this year. On the Darling House, there's just a transfer request later in the package, but there's some immediate work that needs to be done to the Darling House, which is some gutter repair, some electrical work, and some plaster work, which, as you all know, it's actually, the town owns the facility, and so ultimately the town's responsibility to maintain it. So there's a transfer for that.
Who does that work?
Contractors. be contracted out. There's, we work closely with the members of the Amity Historical Society because there's certain type of work to historical buildings that sometimes needs to be done, or people with experience working on historical buildings, so they're sensitive to that and they have that information, so we work with them on that. And finally, the Country Club of Woodbridge, there's some work that needs to be funded there, and there's a transfer later in the package to address that issue, and we can discuss that in more detail. So those are your pluses and minuses for the year so far.
Any questions?
Tony, I have a question. In the year-to-date report, the police overtime
Yes,
line in the police department,
a lot of that is from the FEMA issue.
the storms, that's what I said,
Correct.
so we apply for reimbursement?
Right, we're applying for reimbursement, and hopefully a good portion of that will be reimbursed, and we'll
Okay.
apply towards that line.
I imagine this is already, well, this doesn't include the snowstorm probably, right?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Right. And that would be Public Works would probably be more impacted by that. And you'll see that in Public Works, there's same sort of issue exists. Page 10. It's not quite as bad because there was just this one event, but this is 37% of the way through the year. We haven't hit the winter yet. So, same sort of opportunity for reimbursement there.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, we'll go on to a funding request. The first request for funding number 111208, $5,000.
This is the repair work for the Darling House.
Coming out of contingency.
Contingency, correct. Because it was not really much in the Darling House budget other than
Make a motion.
small utilities.
Motion made, is there a...
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is a line item transfer 1112-09, $30,000.
This is actually funding that's suggested to come from the Woodbridge Country Club Fund itself, of which there's currently a balance of just under $200,000. And that's basically the difference between the revenues we receive from MDM and what we pay in interest and principal and fees to issuance costs for our debt, plus some minor expenses for issuing the EOI, that sort of thing. Those are costs that are directly related to the Woodbridge Country Club that are not maintenance related. It's sort of how it's currently set up. And
So these expenses, that 5969, that's not replacing a dishwasher, it's repairing.
fixing a large dishwasher. There's a lot more detail on this stuff, and there's a suggestion later on in the report to perhaps do a needs assessment, so you have a better idea of exactly what's going on at the facility. But these are, you'll see the second half of fixing the sewer line, that's not it, pump station. That's to fix the antenna at the pump station. You'll see that 2878. That's to fix the antenna that was destroyed by the rodents. That's the second half of that. The first half of that was to actually clean the facility and fix them up, do some electrical repairs, which was in last year's budget. There was a sewer backup, which was caused in the one of the restrooms, which had to be fixed. And there's an estimate there for elevator repairs, which was mentioned earlier. And
The difficulty with that is getting parts for this
correct,
elevator?
if the elevator is original to the building, it's in the 6970. And it was during an electrical storm, and it blew out one of the, some of the electrical work in it, and it's been very difficult to try to fix, to say the least. So these are some of the immediate challenges that are exist and are sort of just trying to keep things going, as opposed to longer-term capital needs, which also exist.
So this estimate for the elevator is only an estimate?
Correct.
In terms of...
Right. Hopefully
Okay.
it's pretty close. But
Okay. All right. I understand from someone tonight it was not yet done.
Correct.
So
Right.
she said, it's still not working. Well, it
Right.
hasn't been repaired yet.
That's true.
Good to know.
That is true.
Okay.
I move acceptance of line item transfer number 1112-09.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion?
Just to say, I think this is a perfectly appropriate use for that fund. And I think another example of how the town is working to keep the Country Club of Woodbridge from impacting the taxpayer.
Okay, any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, passes unanimously. Next, line item transfer number 1112-10, $4,000.
This is simply a mechanism, sort of a bookkeeping mechanism to transfer the revenues that were received for donation for the soccer, from the Woodbridge Soccer Club to the Parks Department to use for maintenance on the soccer fields. As we indicated last month, this is sort of a transferring that revenue once we received it to the expenditure.
This is a donation from the Woodbridge Soccer Club.
What it does is it identifies for, on the financials, the receipt of the donation and the expenditure of what it was used for, so that in future you can sort of see that it's transparent as opposed to just sort of applying one to the other and you don't really see it.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is line item transfer number 1112-11, $2,500.
This is again similar to the soccer club donation. This is a transfer of $2,500 that was received from the United Illuminating to donate $1,250 to both the Jewish Community Center and the Woodbridge Volunteer Fire Association, which we also discussed last meeting, in acknowledgement of their what they did for the town during the hurricane.
I'll entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 112-11.
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next are tax refunds. There are no personal property refunds this month and no real estate. The motor vehicle refunds total $3,387.56, and you can see how they're listed on the memo from Pat Crisco. So I'll entertain a motion to approve those tax refunds.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is a small cities grant for ADA compliant renovations, and there's a letter.
We applied for a small cities grant, it was last March, last April, in that time frame, for ADA improvements to the old former firehouse, for the elevator, and for a bathroom in the senior center, and we did not receive the grant. So this is just a notification for you that due to limited funding, we saw a cut in the grant towards the end of the process, and that was one major reason.
And we've asked for a review of that.
Right.
And so we haven't had that review yet.
Right.
We will. We'll get further information as to why it was turned down, but we're led to believe that the grants that were given were more housing related.
Correct, which we've done several years, and our need was greater, we felt, in this area, not as much in the housing area, and we did not get it.
Any questions? The next is a capital needs assessment. You'll see there's a letter from Silver Petroselli dated October 16, 2011. And this is a needs assessment for the Country Club of Woodbridge. And Tony, you just want to...
Certainly, this is to allow the Silver Petroselli to do a complete capital needs assessment of the Woodbridge Country Club and the outlying buildings. We've heard a lot of, even tonight, a figure of $2 million was mentioned, and so this study, should you choose to do it, will give you a more detailed and more accurate account of what exactly is recommended to be done to the facility. There's a sample one, which was for Manchester Country Club, which is in your package, and that's sort of the type of study that you will receive, exactly the type of study you will receive should you choose to engage Silver Petroselli for this.
And you'll note that the schedule that they've set forth on page 2 says we can begin the study within 2 weeks of your notice to proceed, and the first draft can be completed and ready for initial review within 2 to 3
Right.
weeks thereafter.
Right.
So we're going to hold them to that, and so if we take favorable action on this, that's what we hope to do.
You know what I was wondering, I was looking at this, is, did they, I may have not, I only read through it quickly, but, are they looking at the stuff that's winterized? Or, because I noticed, like, you know, the first just structural analysis thing, that was done in the country club?
Yeah.
That was a
All
different
the-
story?
That was just intended to make sure that the
Right.
structure's not gonna.
No, totally, but when I read that thing, like, there was lots of mechanicals that they couldn't give you any opinion on because
Right.
it was in the middle of winter and
Right,
whatever.
gotcha.
So I'm just wondering, like, are they not gonna be able to give any opinion on, like, the air conditioning, the cooling
No,
system?
they should be able to,
Like, does this include the
It
sprinkler
says here, the
system?
existing conditions of the architectural, mechanical, and electrical systems will be evaluated.
yes.
So I think they are.
The whole-
That's gonna-
Yeah, anticipating a life expectancy, ability to meet changing population needs.
Well, the only thing is when I read that other
Because the air
report.
conditioner currently isn't on.
Exactly,
Right.
and the other report mentions, well, this wasn't on and it wasn't functioning, the pool, you know, you can't look at it if it's covered and everything. I don't know if there's anything we can do about that, I'm just saying, if,
I could certainly,
I'm just wondering
clarify
what
that.
systems we won't be able to actually hear about.
Well, that'll be one, I suppose. the
I would imagine, covers everything, I just don't know if perhaps that will be available in 5 weeks as opposed to perhaps an addendum or some other
Right.
time maybe. But I,
Possibly could some of those things be included later on a follow-up for the,
sure,
for
sure,
the
the
bill, for
understanding
the
is that
fee?
they are included,
Okay.
just as to what the timing
We
of that is,
just
I
won't
don't
get
know.
them
Wait, I get them until
within
the
the 5
summer.
weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
What's that?
Irrigation is not included.
Doesn't include the course.
Right, this is just the facility.
Right, it won't include the golf course or the irrigation or any of that stuff.
Did we get their, I'm sorry. I was just gonna ask, did we get their name because of the work they had done at Manchester, or
That
is
was
that
one
how we
reason,
found?
yeah.
And the work they've done for
And they-
Woodbridge. They're a very easy firm to work with. They're very user-friendly.
Okay,
They worked
Um,
on the firehouse.
oh, okay. Thank you.
They did the 9/11 thing.
Right.
Yes,
Correct.
they did, they
What else
volunteered
have
that.
they
And
done
the
for us?
firehouse, yeah.
They did the firehouse,
Yeah.
they did
Worked on
a number of smaller projects for us, roof at the
They
Beecher
did
Road School.
the Beecher Road School south roof.
Right.
Are we concerned though we're not gonna get any opinion on the course? I mean, is that not their expertise?
We
So-
had the course
Correct, that's not
looked
correct.
at by a gentleman from the
USGA.
USGA. We have a report on that, which was done, I think, in June, was it?
June, right.
We can get that for you.
Yeah, I can forward that to you, yeah.
Okay.
Tony, just a quick question. In the second paragraph, they promise itemization of significant work. My question is, will they also prioritize what they itemize?
Yes, if you look in the Manchester report,
Okay.
towards the end,
They rank it?
it has a rank of how, what priority it is.
And they'll do that for Woodbridge?
Absolutely, he said it'll look it's very similar to this report.
Good.
You're giving this as a sample?
It's a sample, right.
Thank you.
So this is an example of what we pay for out of the country club fund itself.
So after we get this report, we'd have a good idea as to what it would cost to fix the whole thing, the roof over the kitchen, all that stuff, the staining in the ceilings and.
Right,
The windows.
right.
The cost and.
Right.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve the feasibility assessment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. And authorizing me to sign that. Okay, that's included in the motion. Thank you. Okay. Do we have anything under other?
Is not.
Okay. Personnel Committee report. The Personnel Committee was unable to meet tonight because of traffic complications that didn't allow us to get here until it was too late to meet. That was on coming north and south on the Merritt Parkway. You were affected by that too, Tom, right, or no?
I work from home today.
Oh, okay.
Was not affected.
Okay, well, Lawrence was and I was, okay.
I was too.
Yeah, in charity. Okay, next is the town clerk's report, and I entertain a motion to acknowledge receipt of that.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next are our minutes, and the first minutes are our regular meeting on July 13, 2011. And we've all had a chance to look at those, including Beth.
I have 3 typos. In the interest of time, I'm just gonna turn my set over.
Thank you very
because
much.
I do
Okay.
not wanna take up the time to be into the minutia here.
Does anyone?
Every meeting now?
What?
Is that every meeting? Is that a precedent?
I'll be happy to do that if that would make everyone happy.
Beth is very good at that. And so, does anyone else have any comments on these minutes of July 13th?
I have a typo too.
Okay,
Maybe it's the same one.
Right.
okay,
Page, just so we better.
Page 3.
All right.
okay. Anyone else, any comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our regular meeting on July 13, 2011 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes unanimously. Next is our meeting on the public hearing on a proposed ordinance for blocking the box, which was held on July 13, 2011. And I would entertain a motion to approve those
So
minutes.
moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Page 2, I will say this one out loud because it's not a typo. Provisions, item C, the provisions of, I think it's subsections, A and B.
Oh,
Was the only thing.
sections, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
See, Jerry just does that to see if we read these.
It's keeping me on my toes.
All right. Any other comments? If not, all those in favor, or entertain a motion to approve those? We already
did, I
have.
read that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next are appointments, and we have a request now to appoint a Woodbridge resident to the Central Regional Tourism District, which promotes tourism for the 65 cities and towns that make up our district. And this, Jerry inquired as to where this district board of directors will meet, and you'll see on page 3 that a list of the dates of their meetings and the locations of their meetings are to be announced. And most of them, I think, are going to be more in the Hartford area. So it's going to be someone who's willing to travel to these meetings, which I guess are, well, they're monthly. The executive board, the full board meets quarterly. So I don't know if anyone has any nominations, but we can talk about it in December. Do you have any suggestions?
idea.
No?
Not off the top of my head.
Let's
Okay.
nominate Tom, he's not in the room.
Yeah, you're right.
Greg had a good
Well,
idea.
Tom, yeah, he works in Hartford.
Yeah. Donnie.
Okay, the next thing is the first selectmen's report. And again, we have an award to give out, the Government Finance Officers Association Award. This award represents a significant achievement by the town of Woodbridge. It reflects the commitment of the governing body and staff to meeting the highest principles of governmental budgeting. In order to receive the budget award, the entity had to satisfy nationally recognized guidelines for effective budget presentation. These guidelines are designed to assess how well an entity's budget serves as a policy document, a financial plan, an operations guide, and a communications device. Budget documents must be rated proficient in all 4 categories and the 14 mandatory criteria within those categories to receive the award. When a distinguished budget presentation award is granted to a town such as Woodbridge, a certificate of recognition for budget presentation is also presented to the individual department designated as being primarily responsible for having achieved the award. And this has been presented to Anthony F. Genovese, Director of Finance and Operations. So, with that, thank you.
Thank you.
Right,
I
that's
have a
right.
request in next month's budget for renewal.
Okay, so that's good.
That's very nice. That's very nice.
We have a little update on the Amity Post Office. Constance Eklund, who is our guardian angel in preserving the Amity Post Office, has continued to collect petitions, which we have forwarded to Ms. Kim Peters, District Manager of the U.S. Postal Service. And you'll note in my letter of October 12, which was signed by Terry Gorski and Senator Crisco, Representative Claridis, and Representative Nardello, we pointed out the difficulties on Whaley Avenue for the past couple of years in terms of the construction there and how it affected the revenues in the Amity Post Office. The main factor in closing these post offices is has there been a decrease in revenues. I think we were short about $100,000, so maybe that will be sufficient to keep it open. We did get a response to that letter from Ms. Peters, who said that in part, prior to charting our final actions, we will consider all the information collected from the review. The drop in revenue due to the 3-year construction of Whaley Avenue will be considered when the final determination is made. And since then, we've sent further signed petitions to Ms. Peters, and there is a petition at Jerry's desk for interested residents to sign, which we will forward to Ms. Peters.
There's one at the right approach as well.
Yeah.
Oh, good,
And
okay.
a couple of others.
And there's-
Constance has been very busy.
There's been one in Amity Mead.
Yeah.
As well.
It's good.
Okay. Then the next item is American Red Cross Local Heroes nominees, and you'll see there's a letter of October 13, 2011. It says in part, awards will be given in 9 categories, which are listed on the enclosed nominating form. Community leaders and individuals are invited and encouraged to nominate family members, co-workers, acquaintances, or anyone who has either performed an act of courage to save someone's life, or someone who commits countless hours to a special cause. And so they're asking for us to nominate someone. And I don't know if you've thought about this, but one person I was thinking about is Constance Eklund, who spent all this time trying to keep the Amity post office open, and with a lot of enthusiasm and you know, determination to do this. So what do you think?
I think it's a terrific idea.
Okay, so if that's the case, we'll fill out the necessary application for her to be nominated.
They do want people from Woodbridge, because last year you nominated the Amity Animal Rescue Fund, and they did win this award.
Okay, that's right,
Remember?
that's right.
So
That's true, okay.
it'd be good if we get in there every year now.
Okay, good. Okay, and then continuing on with my report, on October 19th, I attended a ceremony at the Amity High School which recognized 14 sets of twins in the senior class, which will be in the Guinness Book of Records. Not only that, there's also a set of triplets. And Channel 8 was there, and there was quite a ceremony and a lot of photographs, and it's a very interesting happenstance.
And they ended up beating another record that was also from Connecticut.
Yeah, Pomeroy. I think it was,
Pomeroy.
yeah.
Good grief.
So, we're doing a lot of things here. A lot of things.
Evidently, our meetings don't last that long.
Well, that's true. Or maybe they'll last 2, I don't know. Well, anyway. On November 8th, I signed the contract along with Tina Weiner, the chair of the police commission, with the new collective bargaining agreement with the police department. As you know, we had Storm Alfred on October 29th, a snowstorm at the end of October with all the leaves on the trees resulted in power outage and blocked roads, and with the cooperation of UI, Vinnie Lazaro, our fire chief, our police chief, public works and human services, they all did extraordinary service. The fire department in particular did a lot of work in clearing brush, etc., cutting trees, and so the senior center was open, the shelter was open, so we thank them all for that, and I think Woodbridge fared fairly well in comparison to Bethany or Seymour or upstate Connecticut. So we thank them all for that. And you'll see there's an email from Vinnie Lazaro to Chief Marcucci about thanking them for their cooperation. So let me just say that Veterans Day is Friday, and Joe Hellauer is in charge of the arrangements. This year, it's, as I said earlier, a special day because we're going to be honoring Private First Class Eric Soufrine, who died in Afghanistan in June. So that'll be part of the ceremony. If you can make it, it's 11:15 on Friday, November 11th. And the other thing is we will have a meeting of the Board of Selectmen on Tuesday, November 15th, following the public input on the Toll Brothers proposal, at which time hopefully we'll sign the call of the special town meeting.
So is that the only, it's going to be the only item on the agenda?
I think that's probably right, yeah.
And at that point, can we call for a referendum at that point? Or?
We can put that on there as well, yeah, so.
I think you call for, I gotta look at the
I
charter.
think there's a time limit.
I think you gotta call for referendum within 5 days of the actual special town meeting.
Yeah.
So we would have it,
So you'd
would
have.
we be getting together?
We have a meeting scheduled, Tom, for the 22nd, I believe, is that right?
That's not within 5 days.
No, it's not.
What's on the agenda? Is that a full meeting?
Well, it's just one of the regularly scheduled meetings, and because Wednesday is the day before Thanksgiving, and move it up to Tuesday.
I think I have a conflict that night anyway.
Yeah, so maybe, well, geez, if the 5-day thing is gonna put us in that Thanksgiving area.
Right.
Monday the 20th?
Is that, you said was within 5 days?
I think it's within 5 days, yeah.
Well, if we make the motion after the call, that's technically, it doesn't have to be a separate meeting, does it?
Let me just look at that. I think the
Yeah.
time limit is there.
Several people asked me that.
I think the time limit is the same for people filing a petition as it is for the Board of Selectmen, but let's look. 200 or more persons, to 10% of the total votes at the meeting at the time of evidence, whichever is less, may petition the clerk or secretary of such town municipal in writing at least 24 hours prior to any such meeting, at least 24 hours, so they can do it at any time, at any time. Requesting an item or items on the call list is being be submitted to the persons qualified to vote on machines. So a petition can do it at any time, and I've just gotta find, okay. The selectmen of the town may, not less than 5 days prior to the day of any such meeting, that's a special town meeting, which is for November 30th, on their own initiative, remove any item on the call of such meeting for submission to the voters in the manner provided by this section.
Not less than 5.
Not less than 5 days, so you guys have to meet within that 5-day period from the 25th to the 30th.
No.
No, not.
No, the other one,
not-
not
The 22nd would be okay.
So if we have the meeting
Right, you can have it on the
on,
22nd.
so if we have the meeting on the Toll Brothers,
15th, we can do it then.
and then right after that, first item, I guess, would call for a referendum, and then we could, whatever we need to do.
Take a vote and then
Okay.
do we have to make the arrangements?
Would the referendum have to be the same date as?
No, we
No.
can set the date.
You could set the date of the referendum.
So if we did that, then the public discussion would be at a special town meeting on the 30th, to be followed by a vote on some date in December.
Okay, so we'd still hold the 30th for public discussion. Okay.
So you'll be signing the call on the 15th, is that what we're saying? Because I have to get it in the newspaper and mail it to everybody.
See, the problem is that you actually have to go through the charade of scheduling the special town meeting.
That's right.
Even though you're not going to have the special town meeting, you're gonna remove the vote from the special town.
So it just turns into another public discussion?
Informational.
Informational session, yeah.
Okay, as long as we get that out ahead of time, people understand that.
All right. Okay. Okay, all right. So that gets us to liaison reports, and Greg?
There was on Monday, a TPZ, meeting, and they did rule finally on Oak Lane, and, not just Oak Lane, but the town of Woodbridge changed its zoning regulations. So you can have a public-private course, and that was a 4-to-1 vote. The chairman was the one, and the next step, from what I understand, is now they have to apply for the use permit, and one of the uses, the liquor permit, has to do with the use permit and other things like how many outdoor events they may have, what hours they could have those type of events. So the Oak Lane thing is off and running. That's my entire update.
Thank you.
Okay, I just hit the highlights for Amity Board of Ed. There was a motion to rename the football athletic field the Dr. William E. Sim Athletic Facility, name the football field the William Bill Johnson Football Field, name the press box the Stan Gdansky Press Box, and direct that the graduation invitation states that the ceremony will take place at the William E. Sim Athletic Facility. That was, motion was brought and it was voted on unanimous with one abstention. Obviously, Rita Gdansky had abstained. Dr. Brady, the big news is that Dr. Brady announced that he's going to be retiring on June 30th, 2012 from public education. So he's not going anywhere, he's retiring. After being with the Amity system for 8 years. And like you had mentioned, Ed, there was the Guinness Book of World Record, and they had to actually do something as a group. And I thought they were going to do something. It was actually getting together for a photo for the yearbook, which was their activity that they'd have to do to qualify.
Allegedly, they have to invite a public official to verify this.
Right,
so,
and they had to bring proof of who they were,
Right.
proof of insurance.
So,
What's your business? What's your business now?
Proof of insurance,
so
yeah.
I was
Proof
there,
of
Jim Foley
their
and Derek were
existence.
there,
And you were the public official, right?
Well, I was one of three, yeah.
Okay. And there was also a letter requesting that the Amity Board of Ed name something at Amity in honor of Eric Soufrine, who's an Amity graduate. And they're going to work on that. There was also a first reading of the anti-bullying policy. And the anti-bullying policy, the new policy also covers off-premises bullying, which was designed basically for cyberbullying because of some recent suicides based on cyberbullying through Facebook and other public media. And those are the top items.
Okay, great. Joe?
You covered it.
Okay.
If you get here a little bit earlier, that would be better. We're gonna endeavor to close off the road so that people can park in the library. That'll still let people have to loop around in front of the Congregational Church if need be, and we'll have another vehicle parked there. This has been cleared with the police department, because we're gonna use part of the driveway, part of the street for seating, because we're putting 150 seats up, and they won't all fit, I don't think. And fortunately, it's a Friday, it's a holiday. I don't think we're gonna have a whole bunch of traffic, but that's the one thing. But if you get here a little bit earlier, there will be a concert by the Beecher kids. I think the program will probably last from 11:45 with this concert. Our situation starts at 2 minutes to 11. The congregational bell will ring at 11, which will make Beth happy because it'll be 11, 11, 11.
Okay.
We're looking for a big crowd.
What time will the road be closed off? Like 10?
Say again?
What time will the road be closed off? 10?
About 9:30.
Good to know. Okay. The police dear, I'm very tired. The fire commission met on October 17th, and the commission reviewed the operating budget with Chief Rowland and the chief noted the budgetary impact of Storm Irene, and hopefully we will get some of those costs back. And the commission voted to request an additional $10,000 from contingency to cover the additional IT support that has become necessary to complete repairs to the computer system. I don't think you've seen that yet.
Not yet.
Okay. They did review the FY13 capital budget and have made a couple of changes, including portable radio expenses to be split between FY13 and 14, and an upgrade of the main radio system. I guess you'll hear more about this at the capital budget presentation. The fire marshal's office has been very busy trying to keep up with timely submittal of the incident reports to the Office of State Fire Marshal, because the fire department has been very, very busy. And Chief Rowland explained the department is considering a move toward a new data management system in which documents are scanned and accessible only to appropriate people. They have to look into the funding for that, etc. So that's just an idea at this point. It was discovered that the emergency call doorbell at the front door of the firehouse was not working, so it will have to be repaired if it hasn't been already. I'm not sure. The fire department was going to provide assistance at the Halloween hoot, and we heard from Dr. Stellar that they did indeed do so. And then we're needed on a fire call, I guess. Popcorn or something. No, what is it?
Candy.
Candy.
Cotton
Yeah,
candy.
cotton candy.
You
Okay.
probably put it underneath the smoke.
Yeah, I know. Good placement. Interestingly, there were 41 calls in September. Year-to-date calls are at 388. Last year at this time we were at 251, so the storms really have had an impact on the numbers. And vehicle maintenance is proceeding. They did put a new hose bed on engine 9, I believe. And the next meeting is November 21st at 6. And then Monday night I went to Human Services, and I have to say how impressed I am with that commission and all the stuff that they do that we never hear about, or we hear once a month, but it's amazing. The commission discussed the proposed FY13 capital budget, and they are going to ask, as I mentioned last month, for the 14-passenger lift-equipped bus. The request will be in FY14 and FY16. The Department of Human Services is also looking to replace a very, very old stove, I guess, that they've been using for years. It's falling apart, and they're looking to go to a gas stove, which they believe in the long run will be more cost efficient, and they think it'll be about $2,000, so it will not go in the capital budget. But if they get further information, Mary Ellen will let you know, Tony.
Okay.
The anti-bullying program was to be reviewed, but due to Storm Alfred, they had to cancel it. And the committee hopes to determine if it will benefit the students at the middle school, but they've got to review it first, and they haven't set a date yet. The Live to Tell program that I told you about last month was very well attended. I guess 350 students came. That was a gentleman who got addicted to painkillers within his home. And 350 kids showed up and 35 parents, so it was very well attended. The youth evening program was on the 28th. They had wax hands, a DJ mummy. Anyway, it was very well attended as well. And they also had 9 students from Quinnipiac who helped assist as well. It's called the Quinnipiac Community Action Project, and they showed up. And their next program is November 18th, which will be a 3-lane bungee run. Okay, I'll leave it at that. There have already been 12 applicants for fuel assistance this year, and the department is also putting together the holiday baskets, and they will be collecting toys at the library if anyone wants to donate. And if you wish to donate monetarily, you can make a check out to Woodbridge Human Services and get that to Mary Ann. The emergency shelter was open from October 29th to the 31st. They did have 8 residents come and use the shelter, but only 1 person stayed overnight. CPR and first aid training is going to be held on November 15th and 29th. And the Senior Center Holiday Fair was very, very fun and well attended. It was a great event, and they raised $1,800 approximately. The Woodbridge Senior Center is sponsoring a program on civil preparedness called Are You Ready? On January 24th next year, with a snow date of January 31st. The panel will consist of a representative from the Red Cross, Deputy Police Chief Ray Stewart, Health Department, and Mary Ellen LaRocca. And the Police Department is going to be sponsoring the annual Thanksgiving luncheon at the Senior Center on Tuesday, November 22nd at 12:30, and volunteers are welcome, and hopefully some of us will get there. And their next meeting of the commission is Monday, December 5th. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Welcome. Library Commission will meet next Monday, so there's nothing to report except that I believe a date has been set for the reception for the unveiling or the reveal of the new Woodbridge room, December 1st from 4 to 6. And if I can just say, I'm sure a lot will be said about this over the next 6 or 8 months, but the announcement of Dr. Brady leaving Amity is a huge loss for the Amity system.
Speaking as a former member of the Amity.
Speaking as a former member of the Amity Board of Education.
Right. We all agree with that, yeah. Lawrence?
The Recreation Commission wasn't able to meet in October. The meeting had to be canceled. And the Woodbridge Board of Education met October 17th. It received a detailed report of a new math curriculum that is to be put into place. It is the result of a 2-year effort, primarily by faculty members, Beecher Road School faculty members, with assistance from ACES, the Regional Educational Support
System.
Thank you. Anyway, and the new math curriculum is designed to help our district meet state core standards in mathematics for primary grades. And then, like the other reports, the Amity, or the Woodbridge Board of Education considered its capital budget requests for FY13, which will include, and we've been hearing a little bit about it already, roof repairs. Dr. Stella mentioned it last week or whenever that was. Anyway, the A-wing roof needs attention. The grounds and the landscaping. In terms of erosion control, they would like to put some money there. And then they heard a quite detailed report on the request for technology that will be included in the capital budget presentation. What I found to be of particular interest, I guess it'll be sort of a pilot program, a request for just a few units, but the way the technology teachers there envision the future, it will be with handheld wireless devices. The idea of PCs at a desk or at a workstation along the wall or something is already, I guess, becoming passé, and so they want to start experimenting anyway to see about movement toward handheld wireless.
They're using iPads, right?
I don't think I'm allowed to say that on, it's a trademark name. But anyway,
Smaller electronic
thank you, I'm sure we will learn more about it, when the board makes its capital budget presentation, but I found that to be interesting. That'll be an interesting component of the technology component of the capital budget request. So.
All right.
When's the new math program begin, next year?
Good question. I think it will be phased in now, that's my understanding. There was a vote that night to accept the curriculum as it has been prepared over the last couple of years, and so I believe they'll start implementing now.
Almost better than that old math.
It's all grades.
The old math doesn't happen.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, we have anything else, any other?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, is there a second? I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll see you on Tuesday, November 15th at 6 o'clock at the Center Gym.
So Tony, you just new math or old math?